Welcome to First Take exclusively for YouTube. We've got Stephen A. Smith, Brian Windhorst, both familiar spaces on the YouTube.
Molly?
Yeah.
Do you notice the colors he's wearing today?
Oh, no.
Orange and blue skies, baby.
Purely
Windy.
by coincidence.
Wendy, that was so nice of you to do that for Stephen A. You knew you'd see him in studio. You wanted to put a smile on his face. You are a man of the people.
Tie. He was eyeing this tie.
At least somebody on this show cares about putting a smile on my face, but we shall continue.
Wow. I just got my second wind. That's never going to get old to me, Wendy. All right, LeBron James and the Lakers were sent home by the Nuggets for the second straight season. This time in the first round, after falling behind 3-0 in the series, LA couldn't find a way to fight their way back and lost a closely contested Game 5 to mark the earliest exit from the playoffs in LeBron's career. The Big Three in Phoenix didn't fare any better. The Suns swept by the emerging T-Wolves in their first-round matchup. It was a disappointing outcome for the Suns team in their first season with Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and Bradley Beal on the court together. Despite the star power, Phoenix lost each of the 4 games by an average of 15 points. But solutions may be hard to come by for both teams. The Suns will only be able to hand out minimum contracts in free agency as they will boast the highest payroll in the league next season. Meanwhile, the Lakers have to wait and see what LeBron James, D'Angelo Russell do with their player options before deciding how to handle this offseason. Okay. Stephen A., which team's got a tougher job in the offseason, the Suns or the Lakers?
I would say the Suns, because I think when you look at Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, what a disappointment. Kendrick Perkins labeled it the biggest disappointment in NBA history. How accurate that is, I'm not so sure, but it's up there. There's no doubt about that. I would tell you that when you look, Wendy, at the Phoenix Suns right now, no picks, cap space, none of that exists in their favor. And not only that, you see a guy in Kevin Durant, you hearing reports about him not being happy. I'm certainly want to make sure I clarify my position as it pertains to Devin Booker. I am in no way implying that he's going to demand a trade or anything like that. What I am saying is if Phoenix is looking to make some changes to acquire assets, New York is not a place that I'm hearing he would mind going.
You're not out of line there.
That's right. Then that's all I said to everybody. And so that happens to be true. And then, of course, Bradley Beal, the one player in the NBA with a no-trade clause, there's but so much he's going to be able to give you as well. You're the Phoenix Suns. You have to do something. This was unacceptable. I think that Frank Vogel's job is in grave jeopardy. I think that they would look to replace him. I'm not saying it's fair or not. But the bottom line is the way they struggled defensively, particularly in the fourth quarters of games where they kept blowing leads and they couldn't do anything sustainable in the fourth quarter, I think is going to come back to bite him. And I think that anything could happen with either Kevin Durant or Devin Booker, possibly both. And because that's a reality that you have to deal with and you have to face, I don't think there's any question that the tougher job in the offseason is going to be for the Phoenix Suns, who has to retool and rebuild and elevate themselves to a level of respectability just 3 years after they were in the NBA Finals. Whereas with the Lakers, you get to sit back and say, yeah, we need a piece here and there. But in reality, we would have been right there had we not been forced to go against the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, it's very rare that you can say the Lakers have more assets than another team. Mm-hmm. But you can say it with the Suns. You're talking about retooling. They don't have the tools. They really, honestly, there's only 3 players that the Suns can trade. Mm-hmm. Because you can't, these minimum guys that they have, you're not getting anything for them, mm-hmm. Okay? So you have Jusuf Nurkic. He makes $18 million. His value is not great. And if you trade him, you have to have another center.
Right.
Then you have Devin Booker.
Yep.
He's your franchise player. You don't want to trade him. Mm-hmm. And you have Kevin Durant, secondary franchise player. You don't want to trade him unless you're doing a rebuild. Mm-hmm. That's it. And they've got no draft picks that they can trade. You look at the Lakers on draft night have up to 3 picks. They can trade this year's pick and potentially 2 more. And they have some players on their roster who make some money. Austin Reeves has value in the league. The Lakers actually have some tools they can do. Also, the Lakers have the mid-level exception. They will have that. The Suns will not. The thing that's going to be interesting is D'Angelo Russell.
Okay.
D'Angelo Russell has a player option for next season for $18.5 million.
Yep. Right.
He shot 41% on threes this year. He made 225 of them. You can say whatever you want about him. Those numbers make him a player that some teams will want. Maybe not for $18 million.
Right.
But if
$18 million in today's economy, in today's NBA economy, I think it's fair.
Okay. If he opts into his contract, he's basically saying, I'm going to get traded. Because once he opts into that contract, he becomes tradable, and he's on a 1-year contract. That's an asset they can get traded. If he opts out of that contract, now the Lakers have to negotiate with him because he could walk away and say, I'm going to go somewhere else, even for less money. If he walks away, the Lakers can't replace him. The Lakers are looking to add to this roster.
Why can't they replace him?
Because they won't have the salary slot. Even if he walks away, they won't be enough under the cap to replace him. So you may argue they can replace him with a guy who makes $10 million. I'm not sure that they can.
When they messed up because they acquired Gabe Vincent, hoping that Gabe Vincent would be that dude where if ultimately he would opt out and go on a free agent market, I'm talking about D'Angelo Russell, then we'd have somebody like a Gabe Vincent. But Gabe Vincent, clearly, I mean, he barely took a trip to the bathroom for the Los Angeles Lakers.
How can you trust him?
Because he was injured all year, so you can't trust that, which means that you got to hold on to D'Angelo Russell, but that's his choice because he may know that the Lakers are looking to move him, and as a result, take a preemptive move by saying, I'll go out there as a free agent. I'm confident if I can't get $18 million, I can at least get a 3-year, $45 million deal from an NBA team. The likelihood is he could pull that off, and I would be going where I want to go as opposed to where they forced me to go by me opting in and electing to stay on the Los Angeles Lakers.
Exactly right. And so I think the Lakers have some tough choices, and they're going to have to do some maneuver, and Rob Pelinka is going to have to really roll up his sleeves. Right. But he's got phone calls he can make. If I get a phone call from the Suns, I go, are you offering Devin Booker? You're offering Kevin Durant? Okay, good luck.
I got to tell you something. They should consider moving Booker. Booker is great. And Booker has tremendous value. Even though you look at him and you say, damn, those 2 games on the road in Minnesota. I wish you were that in Phoenix. I wish you were that in Denver last year, the way you were in Phoenix last year for games 3 and 4 as well. You know, but in the end, Devin Booker, his skill set, his ability to score the basketball, him being a model citizen that he is, because he never causes any trouble or anything like that. Yeah. Certainly, he's your franchise player, but because he brings what he brings, you might be able to get extreme value for him. Then Beal can play that position with Booker being gone, and you use Booker to build up other pieces that you may need on the basketball floor.
For sure.
That's a way to think about it.
All right, one other topic I want to get into quickly here, guys. Obviously, Stephen A., your Knicks just 1 game away from advancing to the second round of the NBA playoffs. Go New York, go New York, go. Completely shutting down Joel Embiid in the fourth quarter of Game 4 to steal one on the road. They now lead 3-1 against the Sixers and are in full command as the series heads back to the Garden. And they couldn't have done it without Jalen Brunson, who continues to prove why he's the king of New York after struggling with his shot. In games 1 and 2, Brunson caught fire, showed up, showed out, going for 39 points, 13 assists in Game 3, and following that up with the Knicks' playoff record, 47 points in Game 4 to go along with those assists. All right, S.A., where does Jalen Brunson currently rank in Knicks history? Put this into context for us.
He's one of the greatest players in the history of the franchise. When we look at the New York Knicks, of course, we think about Walt, Clyde, Frazier, Earl of Pearl Monroe because they brought a championship. DeBush and Bradley and all of those guys.
Willis Reed.
After that, of course, Willis Reed, limping on the court, hitting his first 2 baskets, not making another basket, but the inspirational effect that he had on the team, obviously. You think about those championships, they're in the separate categories because we're talking championships with them. Outside of those guys, you have Ewing, you have Bernard King, you have Carmelo Anthony.
That's right.
That's it. That's it. Jalen Brunson, since the New York Knicks championship years, is one of the top 5 players in the history of the franchise.
That's right.
And it's a franchise that had Marcus Camby. It had Larry Johnson. It had Latrell Sprewell. It had, of course, Ewing, the Oakleys, the Masons, the Charles Smiths of the world, John Starks of the world, and others.
Allen Houston.
Allen Houston, of course. Can't forget him. Jalen Brunson right now, since the New York Knicks championship years, looks like one of the top 5 players in the history of the franchise.
We can make this kind of easy. I voted Jalen Brunson first team All-NBA.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to make it. I think Jason Tatum will.
I gave it to SGA. Right.
Okay. He's going to make second team All-NBA.
He's got mine, yes.
In the last 30 years, they only had 2 Knicks make at least second team All-NBA. Ewing and Carmelo.
That's right.
Carmelo made a third team too, but make second team, just those 2 guys. The last guy to make first team All-NBA, which I think Jalen Brunson is that kind of player, was Ewing in 90.
Right.
So just using that as a actually ironclad concrete thing, you can already just say he's one of the top 3 players in the last 30 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now you're going back in the 80s. So, yeah, and here's the thing. His best years are probably ahead of him. He's only going to get better.
Yeah.
And so I think he's just beginning to build his resume.
Yeah, no question about it. And this is it. You also take into account what it cost them. If they went out and had to pay $250 million to get him,
or 4 first-round picks,
for first-round picks, that would be different because you better be that, because look at what we did to get you. But when the Dallas Mavericks foolishly wouldn't give him $55 million, $55 million, and then the New York Knicks were able to come a year later down the road and give him $104 million. In today's NBA economy, the way Jalen Brunson is playing, Jalen Brunson right now, in terms of his quality, his production, is a $250 million player in today's market. $250 million, easy. He's getting paid $104 million. And so I look at it from that standpoint, and I'm like, my God, what he has done for this franchise, the culture changer that he has been. He's even got to a point where Julius Randle was on the court, and we saw modifications in Julius Randle's game because of the manner in which Jalen Brunson was performing. It is absolutely sensational. And then when you look at some of the potential pieces that could be out there, you look at a DeMar Rosen, you look at a Kevin Durant, you look at a Devin Booker, you look at teams at pieces like this, and you're going like this. All of those pieces work with Jalen Brunson. Now, I'm one of those people, despite his height, believe Donovan Mitchell will play. And then I see what happened the last 2 games against Orlando, and I'm a bit distressed right now. Donovan Mitchell got a big game tonight. He got to show up. But in the end, you look at those other pieces that I mentioned, all of them are good fits with Jalen Brunson. And you know how we know that for sure? Because Josh Hart's a good fit. Dante DiVincenzo's a good fit. I would love to get Mikal Bridges from Brooklyn, but I know Brooklyn ain't going to do business. Brooklyn ain't doing business with the New York Knicks. It's an unwritten rule. They're just not doing business with the New York Knicks. That's just not happening.
Fellas.
It's wonderful.
Last word here, Wendy?
That's what the most exciting thing about the Knicks is. Obviously, they're tied into this series, and they want to go as far. But this team is upwardly mobile. They haven't made their big moves yet. This team is great right now. They got a great chance to get to the conference finals, and they could add 2 or 3 players to this mix over the next year or 2.
All right, I'm with it. Future looking bright. Stephen A., it's so bright I might need my shades. All right, you two
Are you going to the game? Are you going to the game?
Don't worry about it, Stephen A.
Oh, so you can ask questions, but I can't ask. Oh,
Don't worry about
I got it. I got it. Don't worry about it. We all know this much. You ain't going to have the same quality of seed as some people.
Wow.
That much we know.
Wow. Did you see where I sat last time I went to the Knicks game?
That was a college game. That was a college game.
No, it wasn't. It was a Knicks game.
I don't recall you at a Knicks game. We don't remember. We have no recollection of that.
Okay, interesting. All right, Wendy, great to see you. Stephen A., great to see you as well. Thanks for watching First Take exclusively for YouTube. Make sure to tune weekdays on ESPN, 10 a.m. Eastern. See you tomorrow.